Are you thinking about putting your assets in your children's names? It seems simple, a clear path for the future. But there's one thing you absolutely must know. Because this decision, once made, can change everything. Many of us reach a point in life where we look ahead, wanting to simplify things for our loved ones. Perhaps you've considered transferring your home, savings, or valuables to your children's names. The reasons often seem sound: avoiding probate, reducing taxes, or simplifying estate planning. We believe it's the safest, easiest decision, ensuring our legacy is managed without hassle. But beneath this comforting surface, hidden complexities often lie. You might have heard reassurances from friends, family, or even well-meaning advisors that this is a smart move. They might tell you it will make life easier, protect your assets, or bring peace of mind. And in the beginning, it might feel that way, like a weight lifted. But once that step is taken, many seniors realize the reality is nothing like what they had imagined. The simple solution often unravels into a tapestry of unforeseen legal, financial, and even emotional challenges. Before you take that irreversible step, you need to hear 5 hard truths I wish someone had told me. The truth is, transferring assets isn't just about convenience or simplification. It changes everything. These vital, often untold insights might truly surprise you. This video is exactly what you need before making a life-changing decision. Now let me be clear. The purpose of sharing these truths isn't to sow distrust in your family. It's about understanding complex legal and financial realities that often go unmentioned. Your children may have the best intentions, but good intentions don't always align with law and unexpected life events. This discussion empowers you, the senior, to protect your interests, maintain your independence, and make decisions rooted in complete knowledge, safeguarding your future. So as we prepare to dive into these crucial insights, remember the gravity of this decision. Once you go in, getting out isn't as simple as you think. The journey we're about to embark on will challenge some common assumptions. We'll start with the most immediate and often the most surprising hard truth. Let's get started. Hard truth number 1. The biggest shock after considering transferring assets to children isn't the paperwork, the discussions, or even the initial sense of relief. It's the stark realization that you have, in fact, lost control over what was once undeniably yours. You might believe, deep down, that you still hold some sway, that your intentions will always be respected. But the legal reality is far simpler and far more absolute. Once an asset is in someone else's name, your child's name, it is by law theirs. They are free to do with it as they please, whether that aligns with your original hopes or not. This isn't a matter of trust or family loyalty. It's a matter of legal ownership. You think you still have a say, but legally, that asset is no longer yours, period. Imagine for a moment, you've transferred the deed to your home to your eldest child, believing it simplifies things for the future. You envision your home staying in the family, perhaps even living there for the rest of your days. But what if your child, now the legal owner, faces an unexpected financial crisis? Perhaps they decide to sell the house to cover a business debt, or take out a significant loan against its value for their own needs. Despite your original intentions, your hopes for that home, you would have no legal standing to prevent their decision. Your consent is no longer required. The power to dictate its future is gone. Imagine your child making a major decision about your home without your consent. It happens. Once you make that transfer, getting those assets back isn't as simple as asking. It's not like simply asking for a borrowed item back. Reversing the transfer requires your child's full, willing consent, and often significant legal intervention. The process can be costly, time-consuming, and emotionally draining. You might find yourself in the uncomfortable position of having to sue your own child to reclaim what you once owned. Even then, there's no guarantee of success, especially if the asset has been used, sold, or become entangled in your child's own financial or legal issues. Once you give it away, getting it back is a legal nightmare, if not impossible. The financial and legal implications are profound. But so too is the psychological toll. Before the transfer, you had your routines, your decisions, your ability to manage your own financial affairs. You decided when to use your savings, when to sell a property for your needs, or how to invest your funds. Once those assets are transferred, you are no longer in charge of that part of your life. The feeling of being a decision maker slowly diminishes, replaced by a sense of relying on another person's choices, even if that person is your beloved child. This shift from having agency to being subject to another's will, regarding something as fundamental as your life savings or home, can feel like a profound loss of self-worth and independence. When you lose control over your assets, you might find you've lost more than just money. If you're considering putting your assets in your children's names, ask yourself, are you truly ready to give up the small freedoms that make managing your finances and property yours? Are you prepared for a future where major decisions about your most valuable possessions are no longer yours to make? Because once you give up that control, that direct power over your own assets, you'll miss it more than you ever thought possible. This isn't just about financial planning. It's about safeguarding your autonomy. Ask yourself, is giving up this much control worth the perceived benefits? This loss of control is just the first hard truth. There are others that often remain hidden until it's too late. The next truth reveals how your children's challenges can suddenly become yours. When you decide to place your assets into your children's names, it often comes from a place of love, a desire to help or simplify things. You envision a smooth transition, a protective measure for your legacy. But there's a hard truth few discuss. Once those assets are legally in your child's name, they are, in the eyes of the law, theirs. This means they are no longer just your carefully accumulated savings or your beloved home. They become inextricably linked to your child's entire financial and legal world. It's like intertwining two separate threads, creating a single vulnerable strand. You gave them your assets, but did you also give them your potential liabilities? I've seen too many families face the shocking reality of this shared vulnerability. Imagine a scenario. You've transferred your home, perhaps your most significant asset, into your child's name to simplify probate. Then, unexpectedly, your child goes through a difficult divorce. Suddenly, that home, intended for your security, becomes part of the marital estate to be divided. Or consider a child whose business venture takes an unforeseen downturn, leading to bankruptcy. The assets you gifted, once your bedrock, are now fair game for creditors. A major lawsuit against your child, for any reason, could also put your life savings, now theirs, at risk of seizure. These aren't just legal abstract ideas. They are very real, very painful scenarios where your generosity backfires, leaving you helpless. The implications extend even further into the realm of creditors. When your assets are no longer legally yours, they lose the protection they once had under your ownership. If your child accumulates significant debts, faces a judgment, or even has outstanding tax obligations, those gifted assets are now fair game for collection. A bank statement might suddenly show deductions you didn't authorize, or a bill collector's letter could arrive, not for your child, but demanding payment using your former assets. You, the original owner, have no legal standing to defend them. You are powerless, watching your hard-earned wealth used to settle someone else's financial burdens, leaving you with nothing. The most devastating consequence of these unforeseen events is the direct impact on your own security. The assets you intended to protect, perhaps to fund your future medical care, cover living expenses, or simply maintain the lifestyle you worked so hard for, are now gone. I've heard stories of seniors who, after such a loss, found themselves unable to afford crucial care or were forced to downsize drastically. The fear that settles in, the gnawing worry that your future is no longer secure because of circumstances entirely beyond your control, is profound. It's the biggest fear, that the assets meant for your future are gone and you're left unprotected. This isn't to say your children aren't trustworthy or loving. It's about recognizing the unpredictable nature of life itself. We all hope for smooth sailing, but life often throws storms we can't foresee. So I ask you, genuinely, have you truly considered the future risks your children might face? Their marriages, their businesses, their health, their legal entanglements. All of these are variables that can, and sometimes do, change dramatically. Are your assets truly ready for their potential storms? This isn't about distrust. It's about responsible, long-term planning that accounts for life's inevitable uncertainties, protecting not just your children, but yourself. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward to hard truth number 3, tax traps and unexpected costs. Next, let's talk about the hidden tax burdens you might unknowingly create. Now, let's move forward to hard truth number 3, tax traps and unexpected costs. Many of you consider transferring assets to your children with the best intentions, often hoping to simplify things or even reduce future taxes. But what I've learned, and what many discover too late, is that these transfers can trigger unexpected and significant tax burdens that were never anticipated. That tax-free gift could come with a hefty bill for your children, or even you. It's a common misconception that simply moving an asset out of your name means it's free from all future tax implications. In reality, large gifts can incur gift tax for the giver, or, more commonly, capital gains tax for the receiver when they eventually sell the asset. What often begins as an attempt to avoid one set of taxes can inadvertently create another, much larger financial obligation, completely contrary to your original goal. Imagine, for a moment, the family home you've lived in for decades, perhaps bought for a modest sum and now worth considerably more. You decide to gift this home to your child, believing you're making things easier for them. But here's the often overlooked trap. If your child later sells that home, they will likely be liable for capital gains tax on the difference between your original purchase price and the sale price. This is a crucial distinction, because had your child inherited the home after your passing, they would receive a, quote, stepped-up basis, meaning the capital gains tax would only apply to the appreciation after your passing, dramatically reducing their tax burden. Gifting your home now could cost your children hundreds of thousands in taxes later. This isn't just about small percentages. It's about a fundamental difference in how the tax system treats gifts versus inheritances, a difference that can have a financially painful and frustrating impact on your loved ones. Beyond capital gains, another critical area often misunderstood is the impact of asset transfers on Medicaid eligibility. Thinking about Medicaid to cover potential long-term care costs? This is where gifted assets can become a catastrophic problem. Medicaid has what's known as a look-back period, typically 5 years, though it can vary by state. This means that if you transfer assets to your children or anyone else within this period, Medicaid will consider those transfers when determining your eligibility. If they find you've given away assets during this time, you could be disqualified from receiving crucial long-term care benefits. This leaves you or your family responsible for massive medical and nursing home bills out of pocket, a burden you likely sought to avoid. Gifting assets could disqualify you, leaving you to pay for care out of pocket, a financial threat that can unravel years of careful planning. So what seems like a straightforward path to making life easier or saving money often backfires, creating a tangled web of unforeseen complexities and costs. The perceived simplicity of simply putting assets in your children's names is rarely the reality. Instead, you could be inadvertently setting yourself and your children up for future financial headaches, legal battles, and significant tax liabilities. The cumulative burden of lost control, the vulnerability to your children's financial problems, and these unexpected tax issues can be immense. The convenience of gifting assets often hides a mountain of unforeseen costs and legal battles. What began as an act of love and careful planning can, without expert guidance, become a source of regret and financial strain for everyone involved. This is why I urge you to pause and consider. Are you avoiding one tax only to find yourself or your children facing another, larger one? Don't trade one financial problem for a bigger one. Truly understand the tax landscape. Before making any decisions, it's crucial to look at the entire financial picture, not just the immediate benefit. A comprehensive view of your estate, your goals, and the potential long-term consequences is paramount. This isn't about short-term gains. It's about securing your future and your family's financial well-being with wisdom and foresight. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 3 below to let me know you're here. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. The next truth is perhaps the most painful. how transferring assets can tear families apart. Now, let's talk about hard truth number 4, family discord. It's a delicate subject, one many of us prefer not to think about when we're making decisions rooted in love and a desire to help our families. We envision a smooth transition, a gesture of generosity that strengthens bonds. But I've seen, time and again, how the best intentions can pave a path to unintended consequences, straining the very relationships we cherish most. When financial decisions, particularly those involving asset transfers, enter the family dynamic, they can introduce a complex layer of expectations, perceptions, and even deep-seated resentments. Money changes things. Even the closest families can be torn apart by asset transfers. Imagine this common scenario. You decide to transfer your home or a significant portion of your savings into the name of one child, perhaps the one you perceive as the most responsible or financially savvy. Your intention is pure, to simplify things, to avoid probate, or to offer a head start. But what happens to the other children? I've witnessed families where this decision, made with love, ignited a firestorm of jealousy and feelings of betrayal. Suddenly, siblings who once supported each other are questioning fairness, control, and what they believe is their rightful future inheritance. One child feels burdened or overly scrutinized, while others feel overlooked, their trust eroded. It's a breakdown of family unity over financial matters, and it can be heartbreaking to watch. Your decision could create a rift between your children that never heals. The emotional toll this takes on everyone involved, especially the senior making the transfer, is profound. You made a decision hoping to ease burdens or secure futures, only to find yourself at the center of a family storm you inadvertently created. The very act meant to foster harmony leads to arguments, strained phone calls, or worse, avoided visits. I've spoken with many who carry the heavy weight of regret, realizing their loving intention inadvertently caused division and resentment among their children. That sense of isolation, watching the fabric of your family fray, can be a sorrowful burden, far outweighing any perceived financial benefit. The last thing you want is for your attempts to help to end in family heartache. Now, let's move to the final, and perhaps most critical, hard truth number 5. It's often not reversible. This is the part nobody truly tells you when you're considering transferring assets. You might think, if it doesn't work out, I can always change my mind. But the reality is starkly different. Once those assets are legally in your children's names, they are theirs. Reversing that decision is incredibly difficult, often impossible, and rarely without significant cost or complication. This isn't just about a simple change of heart. It challenges the fundamental legal framework of ownership. The biggest secret? Once you transfer assets, getting them back is harder than you can imagine. The barriers to unwinding an asset transfer are multifaceted. Legally, your child would have to agree to transfer the assets back to you, and they might face their own tax implications or legal hurdles in doing so. If they've used the asset as collateral for a loan, or if they're facing their own financial difficulties, returning it might not even be an option. Emotionally, asking your children to give back what you willingly gave them can be incredibly awkward, even damaging to your relationship. It's a battle against law, finance, and family dynamics. The process can be costly, time-consuming, and emotionally draining, with no guarantee of success. This is why the decision to transfer assets should never be taken lightly. It's a nearly permanent step. Reversing the transfer isn't just paperwork. It's a battle against law, finance, and family dynamics. So what does all of this mean for you? It means being informed, not fearful. It means understanding that while the intention behind putting assets in your children's names often comes from a place of love and foresight, the legal and financial realities carry profound, often irreversible risks. My strongest advice to you is this. Before you make any decisions about transferring your assets, consult with professionals. Speak with an experienced estate attorney and a trusted financial advisor. They can help you navigate the complexities, understand the tax implications, and explore alternatives that protect your independence, your financial security, and the harmony of your family. Don't make this life-altering decision alone. The most important step is talking to an expert. Your future, your peace of mind, and your family relationships are too important to leave to chance.